Hey everyone, Phi Farley here. It is February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. We got a college basketball best bet coming to you here on a short slate. A couple mid-major, smaller conference, Ivy League going at it as usual on a Friday evening and without NBA. So we're going to get right into it in just 1 second. I also got to answer a question that was given over to me about a week ago. I want to address that on who to pick. How do I narrow out a slate when we have a slate like we do tomorrow, which is going to coincide with another video that I have out there. So stay tuned for that. Before I get into the best bet, though, let me first say thank you to subscribers. I appreciate it. As always, you are the fuel that keeps us going. So if you haven't subscribed, take a second, please, and do so. It means a lot to me. And like I said, it keeps filling that tank. So I keep on plugging, keep putting picks out like yesterday. Nice double up win. Win just barely on Presbyterian, but they kept it at 10, covering the 11 over Radford. And then we also had that win with Indiana. Nice win at home. Led the whole way. Wasn't even within the double digits, really, throughout most of the game against Iowa. So nice win there for Indiana. They needed that one, and they got the job done. They really put forth the effort that they needed to get that job done there. So good win for Indiana. Nice 2-0 day there on the best bets. So let's talk about real quick what I would do when I first come across a slate of games like we did yesterday. Or Tuesday's slate of games, when we got quite a few games to choose from, where we begin with. So I have a video on pregame, and just an overview of pregame, what kind of content's on there, and what to look at. So when you've engaged with that material for so long, you get to notice trends in the betting market. And what I'm trying to identify is where sharp money is going and where it's been. So today is going to be a good example of where a team that gets steam is identified. So in particular, this game, you could tell this is not a common popular team. We're not talking about a Duke or North Carolina or a common bet team like Gonzaga that's real popular. Marist. Marist is an under-the-radar team that has been bet by sharps in certain positions. And so when I see a team like Marist get steamed up, I know it's sharp money going in on that, and I'll start to dig deeper. So today, Fairfield is coming into town. Marist, by the way, on the season, has a winning against the spread record. Their ATS record is 11-10. Now, the biggest part to that is catching those games when they are favored or when is a good spot, so you're on the 11 side, not the 10 side. Fairfield is also, by the way, a winning proposition if you were to bet them blindly. They're 14-10, I believe, against the spread. So one of the first things I do, it's not that surface level oriented. The first thing I do, though, when I scan through games is I look through the teams and I look for the movement and I look for the betting percentages that are heavily weighted and that have moved overnight. I look for teams that I'm familiar with because I've engaged with that data for so long. I can identify a team like Marist that I see has moved overnight and is getting that sharp action. I know sharps love to bet on Marist when they're in key spots. You can do the same with many teams that are not always even-keeled. If injuries affect them, if home and road affects them, if a matchup affects them, if it's a rivalry game, if we have a ranked versus unranked, I want to key out those games first. And then once I have that slate knocked down, so now we have really given ourselves about 2 handfuls full of games, then we'll want to dig in deeper. We'll want to go into what is the matchup difference? What is the reason for the line movement? What are the injuries that are at play? What is the history between the teams and those sort of things? So those are typically that's the first and second level of capping. So great question. The question once again was, how do you address a full slate of games and narrow it down to a best bet or a handful of picks? That's my first and second level. Very first level, though, is to run through those, knowing the background that I have, knowing the history. So it takes some time to engage with pregame or your resource that you use for tracking line movement and tracking betting percentages so that you can use that data to your advantage. All right, so now let's talk about best bet. So we got Marist hosting Fairfield. So Marist immediately was steamed up from a pick'em to 2.5 as a favorite. They're hosting Fairfield. They've already beat Fairfield once this year. Now, that does bring up, is this a revenge match? Well, I think Marist is pretty underrated at a 6-15 record. That said, 5 of the 6 wins are in conference, of which 3 have been their last 3 home games have all been wins. I think 4 overall. It's 3 overall. The last 3 home games have all been wins. So they beat Fairfield on the road the first time. They beat Iona at home, Manhattan at home, St. Peter's at home, and then they also won on the road at Niagara. So there's their 5 wins in conference. Here, Fairfield is just not a very good road team. They have 1 road win on the entire season in conference, and that was at Canisius, worst team in the entire conference. And they're not even being very competitive. At Iona was a loss by 7. At Quinnipiac was a loss by 14. Ryder was a loss by 16. Siena, really tough game, was also a loss by 16. So a lot of double-digit losses on the road. Now we're going to a Marist team that has been holding their own. And to come out at Pick'em, I think, is to have undervalued the Red Foxes. So, like I mentioned, they already beat Fairfield once earlier this season by 12. And so, take away home court, throw it on the Marist side. We should have a nice win for Marist again here. So I don't think it's enough for a revenge to overcome the talent and the home court advantage that Marist has. So I'm going Marist minus the 2.5 as the best bet of the day. There you go. Good luck, everyone, today on a short slate of games. Looking forward to tomorrow where we've got a nice big slate. Hope this video was informative for you. If it was, feel free to hit subscribe. I appreciate it. All right, take care.